In 2016, North Korean hackers made their way into the computer networks of the Central Bank of Bangladesh with the goal of stealing $1 billion, and they came really close to pulling it off. This is the story of the Lazarus heist, a daring plan by North Korea to steal $1 billion from Bangladesh, all without ever setting foot in the bank. Hey everyone, I'm Noah Zerby. I'm a professor of politics and international studies at Humboldt State University, and this is the story of the Lazarus heist. Now, to understand how this heist worked, we need to understand a little bit about how international financial transactions take place. Like most banks, the Central Bank of Bangladesh maintains an account with the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, which it uses to deposit, maintain, and transfer foreign currency balances belonging to the government of Bangladesh. It's essentially where the government of Bangladesh keeps its US dollars. These accounts often contain billions of dollars. And when the Central Bank of Bangladesh wants to use these dollars, it initiates what's called a SWIFT transfer. SWIFT is the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication, and this is the group that essentially transfers money between these banks. About half of all international financial transactions, which amount to literally trillions of dollars a day, takes place through these networks. The group responsible for the attack on Bangladesh's financial reserves is known as the Lazarus Group. It's a team of North Korean hackers active from at least 2009 onward. The group's been known by a number of names, including the Guardians of Peace, the Who Is team. The U.S. intelligence community has designated the group an advanced persistent threat and has designated it with the codename Hidden Cobra, while Microsoft has dubbed the group Zinc. The Lazarus Group is believed to be comprised of two distinct units. The first is called And Ariel, sometimes known as Silent Kalima, and it primarily targets the South Korean government, defense, and South Korean economic actors. The second, known as Blue Noroff and also known as APT-38 and Stardust Kalima, is primarily engaged in efforts to steal money from abroad. The Lazarus Group itself has a long history of cyber activities predating and postdating the 2016 Bangladeshi theft. Indeed, according to the U.S. Federal Bureau of Intelligence, the Lazarus Group was responsible for Operation Troy, a distributed denial service attack, which took a number of government, news media, and financial websites in South Korea and the United States offline for a period of several days in July 2009. A similar, though more sophisticated attack was launched in March 2013 against South Korean media, financial, and critical infrastructure networks. This attack was called Dark Soul and demonstrated the growing reach of the Lazarus Group. In 2014, the Lazarus Group launched a hack against Sony Picture Studios, stealing and releasing thousands of sensitive emails, draft movie scripts, contract information, and the personal data for more than 40,000 Sony employees. The attack was believed to be a response to the studio's decision to release the Seth Rogen film The Interview and cost Sony Picture Studios at least $15 million. The Lazarus Group was also believed to be responsible for the 2017 WannaCry ransomware attacks, which used code stolen from the National Security Agency to attack and then encrypt computers using Microsoft Windows. The attackers demanded payment in Bitcoin to release the encoded data, and it's believed that this attack affected more than 200,000 computers worldwide, with total damages well in excess of $1 billion. In September 2019, the group launched a cybertheft attack dubbed Electric Fish, which resulted in a $49 million theft from Kuwait. And in late 2020, the Lazarus Group was believed to have been engaged in efforts to steal data around the COVID-19 virus and vaccine efforts from a number of pharmaceutical companies, including AstraZeneca, though there's been no independent confirmation that these efforts have been successful. But what about the Bangladeshi theft? That story begins in January 2015, when an innocent-looking email was sent to several employees of the Bangladeshi Central Bank. The email purported to come from a potential job applicant named Rasel Alam and included an attachment which was, at least reportedly, Alam's resume. In reality, there was no Rasel Alam. The resume was part of an elaborate phishing attack, an effort to trick unwitting employees in the Bangladeshi bank into opening the file and thereby downloading the virus hidden in it. Once downloaded, the virus gave North Korean hackers access to the bank's computer network, where they remained undetected for over a year, expanding their access across the network and gradually giving the hackers the information they needed to initiate the planned theft. But getting the money out of the government of Bangladesh's account was only the first step of the plan. The hackers had to find a place to stash and launder the stolen funds. To do that, the group set up 4 separate accounts with the Rizal Commercial Banking Corporation, or RCBC, a private commercial bank in the Philippines. The accounts were set up using fake identities and provided a location to transfer the stolen funds to. From there, the funds would be transferred between various accounts and then to a foreign exchange broker who converted them into Filipino pesos before redepositing them into another account. Ultimately, the stolen money was laundered through a Manila casino, then through Macau, and then finally the funds made their way, it's believed, to North Korea. But there was one final hurdle. On the 10th floor of the Bangladeshi Central Bank, a networked computer printer provided a paper backup to all of the financial transfers initiated by the bank. The printer would immediately signal Bangladeshi officials that something was amiss, and so when they were ready to launch their attack, the hackers remotely disabled the printer. With the plan now in place, the Lazarus group launched their attack. At 8:36 p.m. Bangladeshi time on Thursday, February 4th, 2016, they initiated their SWIFT transfers from the computers of the Bangladeshi Central Bank, 35 transfers in total, emptying $951 million from the Bangladeshi's Federal Reserve account in New York and transferring the funds to the Shell Corporation accounts that had been set up for them in the Philippines. The date and time of the theft was incredibly well planned. It was Thursday night in Bangladesh, but Thursday morning in New York. This would give the Federal Reserve Bank in New York plenty of time to initiate the transfer, but all outside the normal business hours in Bangladesh. What's more, the Bangladeshi weekend runs from Friday to Saturday, meaning the attack was launched at the start of their weekend. And when Bangladeshi officials began to uncover the theft, most likely on Saturday or Sunday morning, New York would be outside of its normal business hours. This effectively delayed discovery of their plan for almost 3 days. And the choice to transfer the funds to the Philippines at that time was also intentional. Monday, February 8, 2016 marked the first day of the Lunar New Year, a holiday across much of Asia. Most of the banks in the Philippines would be closed for the holiday, giving the hackers time to transfer the money out of the country undetected. When the Bangladeshi Central Bank discovered the transfer on Saturday morning, they initially struggled to determine what happened. The head of the bank, Atir Rahman, attempted to cancel the transfers and claw the money back without drawing attention to the hack. Rahman attempted to do this while keeping the theft out of the public eye and hidden from his own government. But the transfers couldn't be reversed. Some of the money had already been transferred to the Philippines, and the Filipino bank needed a court order before it would freeze the funds. Ultimately, the FBI issued a number of warrants for North Korean hackers involved in the scheme, but they remain in North Korea outside the reach of U.S. law enforcement. In the end, the Lazarus Group made off with about $81 million, far less than the near $1 billion they had attempted to steal, but an impressive haul nonetheless. The success of the operation was limited by 2 initially what appeared to be very minor errors. First, the hackers chose a branch of the RCBC Bank located on Jupiter Street in Manila for their initial transfers. Unfortunately for them, Jupiter was the name of a sanctioned Iranian shipping vessel, and the use of that term triggered a flag at the Federal Reserve Bank in New York, delaying the transactions. This effectively caused all but 5 of the transactions, which totaled a little over $100 million, to be flagged for review, and gave Bangladeshi authorities time to cancel the remaining transactions before they were processed. Another transfer, totaling about $20 million, was flagged when the Federal Reserve official noticed a spelling error in the transfer order, which requested the funds to be moved to an account held by the Shakila Fundation, F-U-N-D-A-T-I-O-N, instead of the Shakila Foundation, spelled correctly. As a result, that transaction was reversed. Nevertheless, the hackers made off with $81 million, roughly 10% of Bangladesh's total foreign currency reserve at the time. There's a degree of irony in the fact that North Korea, a country renowned for its closed nature, lack of connection to the outside world, and relative technological isolation, has become one of the leading cyber actors in global politics today. The Lazarus heist grossed $81 million, which was impressive, but North Korea probably netted far less than that after the necessary fees and bribes to launder the money. But the attack did demonstrate the vulnerability of the global financial system and the ability of a relatively small and even isolated actor to exercise disproportionate power in the global economy. And more recent attacks by the group have generated even larger hauls. The 2017 WannaCry ransomware attacks affected computers around the world and demanded payment in Bitcoin, a cryptocurrency that avoided the various fees and bribes necessary in earlier attacks. Some estimates place the total haul from the WannaCry attack in between $1 and $2 billion, a massive amount for a country whose gross domestic product is estimated to be less than $20 billion and which is desperate for foreign exchange. So that concludes the story of the Bangladeshi bank heist. If you're interested in learning more, I can't recommend the BBC podcast series The Lazarus Heist strongly enough. I'll provide a link to it in the notes section below. But that's it for now. Please leave any questions or comments you have in the comments section below, and thanks for watching, everyone. Have a good day. Bye.